All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm Dedric Polite. This is my wife, Krystal Polite, who would Be Polite Properties. Excited to be here in Cleveland. This is our first pop-up we're doing in Cleveland. It's actually only our second time here. So we appreciate y'all having us in the land, right? As y'all call it.
That's what it's called?
The land, yeah. So we're originally from Boston, Massachusetts, but we moved to North Carolina about 7-8 years ago, because that's where my wife's family's from. So we've been in North Carolina for about 7-8 years, but we invest nationwide. So we invest in North Carolina, Boston, we're investing in Cleveland now. Wherever the deal is, we'll invest.
I had a lot of flyers that came back, like return flyers. Did you get that a lot?
The ones that are coming back are really the gold mines.
Yeah.
So we don't do direct mail for the ones who actually call. We do direct mail for the return postcards, because the ones that are returned are the ones that don't want to be found. So if you do find them, chances are you're the only investor that's talking to them, because most people, when you get that return postcard, it's like, okay, it's returned, I'm not doing anything else with it. At that point, you got to skip trace. And from skip trace, you go to either, if it's a big enough list, so like what I do is all of our return postcards get put into a spreadsheet and it's sent to our VA. From that point, when she puts it in the spreadsheet, it's skip trace. Once it's skip trace.
Skip trace is finding someone's phone number. So
Yep.
Locating the phone number for someone that you're trying to track down. It's called skip tracing.
And you get the right one. They will literally usually come back with 4 or 5 different phone numbers for that individual. Once it goes to our VA, we send it off to have it skip traced. They will hit it with either a cold call or we'll do ringless voicemail. So if it's a large list, we'll hit it with a ringless voicemail. But if it's like 10 or 11, she'll call them. What we have been seeing that we get a better response is phone calls, because those people don't want to be found. So if you hit them with a voicemail, they're not going to call back.
And we've actually gotten deals that way where we've skip traced them and called them, and they're like, I don't even know how you got my number. Nobody has this number. And we're like, well, do you want to sell the house? And they're like, okay, let's talk.
So I would say skip trace it and then cold call these numbers. And I'm telling you, don't give up until you can reach that person. If you need a skip tracer, let me know.
That's actually how we got the 8 unit in Cleveland.
Yep, that's exactly how we got the one here.
We sent them postcards like 6 times, once every month for 6 months. He never called us back. Then we skip traced him and we called him and we left voicemails.
Over and over and over.
And he finally called us back after like 9 months. He's like, I don't know how y'all track me down, but I got these properties in Cleveland. I live in New York, and I was gonna renovate them, and I don't really feel up to it anymore. So how much you want to give me for it?
You said
5 or 2 R's in the end.
I sure did. Everything I needed to know about her transaction coordinator position, and basically the entire model. And she gave me everything I needed to know. I took that model and I tailored it to what we needed done in our business. And that's literally how we run off our business. That's why I tell people, when you go to pop-ups like this, conferences may be a little harder because everybody's crazy at that point. But when you go to smaller meetups and conferences, try to get a hold of a speaker where you can really ask them serious questions about their processes and their systems. Don't sit up here and ask them like, hey, so how much have you made? Because that ain't gonna do nothing for you. They done made that and spent it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get in there and be like, hey, listen, what are you using for ringless voicemail? What are you using for skip tracing? How often do you skip trace? What's your flow like? What's your marketing flow like? So now you're getting documented process. So if you come to me and be like, hey, what's your marketing system like? And I say, okay, well, listen, first thing, all roads lead to Deal Machine. First thing we do is ringless voicemail. Then from there, we do a text blast. And we do that one after 3 months. And then that's a documented system that now you know you can go back and implement in your business.
What are you using for ringless voicemail?
REI Real. And I will tell you, we didn't even start using it until, when did I?
Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago.
Right, and they have been trying to. Max, Vincent, which are the creators of it, have been hounding us to use this app. We purchased it at We Live 18 and still didn't use it. So, and we were paying $200 a month for this service and never used it. And they caught us at We Live 19 in the hallway, and Vince was like, yo, I need to speak to you. This is like, yo, I've been trying to get a hold of you for the longest. What do I have to do to get you guys to use REI Real? And I said, listen, you got to put it together yourself because I ain't got the time.
We just didn't have the time to get to it. We're doing so much other marketing campaigns.
And he was like, if that's what I got to do, that's what I'll do. When can I schedule a call with you? I said, well, just call my assistant. And she was like, nope. He was like, because Max has been on me. Like, why aren't they using it? Get a hold of them. Da, da, da. So I said, all right, let's set it up. And he made me right then on the spot, give him a date and a time.
So
and that's what we did.
Does everybody know what ringless voicemail is? No. So ringless voicemail, you ever get a call and you go to pick it up and then it hangs up and next thing you know,
you got a
30 seconds later,
voicemail.
you got a voicemail? That's ringless voicemail. That's someone dropping a voicemail in your smartphone. So you can actually do that to sellers. You can send out a blast of 1,000 voicemails and it leaves them a voicemail saying, hey, my name is Joe. I buy properties in East Cleveland. I noticed your property look vacant. Any chance you might be looking to sell it? Press 1. If you're not interested in selling, press 2.
No, but you're not saying that.
That's not how you say it.
Yeah, he don't handle the marketing. You can
I don't do it like that. But that's the general idea.
Exactly. Yeah, and it works. And it blew my mind that it actually worked when I actually started using it. But it actually works, and it just really depends on your neighborhood, how you're dropping that list, the message. And with ours, it's like, hey, my name is Melissa. I always tell people, if you are doing direct mail, put a female's name on the card. So as the signature, put a female's name. I don't care if it's your mama's, your aunts, your uncles.
Even if you're a guy, put a woman's name.
Even if you're a male, put a female's name as the person who sent it, and just make sure it's a name that you recognize. So when they call back, and they be like, hey, may I speak to Melissa? Oh, hey, how you doing? Actually, she's with another client, but I'm actually her partner, Mark. How can I help you?
Because it's less threatening.
Absolutely.
They think they're calling a woman than a man. They may think, it can get over or whatever.
We know because we did our marketing that way. If you're doing ringless voicemail, find a female to leave the voicemail. Don't, as a male, I would say, try your voice later, but if you want instant results, have a female. Why? Because if it's a male or a female, they're not intimidated to call her back. And there are some who, like we have our transaction coordinator name. It's me leaving a message, but I have her name. And that's because my name, Krystal Polite, people were Googling me, and you're gonna find a ton of stuff with me. So then it was getting creepy, real creepy. So I had to take my name off and put her name, because when you Google, you get absolutely nothing. And then they would call and be like, hey, can I speak to Melissa? And I'd be like, oh, Dedric would be like, oh, well, she's not available right now. Okay, well, tell her to call me back. They were adamant that they wanted to speak to her. And it's really just a female. Why? Because we're not as threatening. So if you can, starting out for instant results, put a female on your marketing.
You're both of you guys starting out right now. What would be your marketing process as far as, and when would you start? Would you go straight to wholesale, or would you jump to something?
I would say wholesale. One, everyone here should be wholesaling. If you are not, you have to learn it. Wholesale, 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 because one, it's a way to build very quick cash, lumps of cash. And I'm not gonna say quick, but you can build it a lot quicker than doing a flip. You can get it. But I would definitely say start out wholesaling. And if we were starting out right now, and I handled the marketing versus what we did then, I would probably say it would be Deal Machine. Because we driving for dollars, Deal Machine, because we started cold calling. And we got leads. We did get leads,
But we didn't get no deals.
but we didn't get any deals from it. And the reason why I say Deal Machine direct mail is because when they call you back, that's not a lead you have to really work for, because they're calling you back. So you now know there's a motivation there. It doesn't matter if your price point isn't there yet, there is a motivation. And that's what my entire team has learned just doing all of our marketing funnels. They're like, listen, they love when a Deal Machine call comes through.
They pick up the phone, they saw your postcard, and they're like, hey, I know this guy's an investor. I want to see how much he'll give me for my house.
They know you're not giving them retail because they know what an investor does. So I tell people, so even with a $200 budget, and this is actually a part of our course, so I'll give you guys a little snippet. We're gonna make sure we bleep this.
Going back to the direct mail part, like I primarily use direct mail.
Mhm.
Do you suggest like any female name or like put your personal name on there?
I-
'Cause my name is unique, so I think
No.
that maybe.
I wouldn't put that one on it.
Okay.
Like I didn't put Dedric on there because they would be like, Dedric,
Like, who?
Right.
Dedric, what's
I'm
that?
sure
Like,
they're probably, people want to call, they're like, I don't even know what to call her, so no.
Exactly. So I would say so like with mine, I put Krystal on there. And then I had to take it off just because I was too Googleable. And then I put Melissa on there. So I would put a name that you're gonna recognize. So put like if your mom's name
generic type
is real
name,
generic, put hers. But put a name when they call, you're gonna know who they're asking for. So don't just choose a random name and you be like, what? No, you got the wrong number. No ma'am.
Yeah, my question is, how do you guys keep consistent leads coming in besides the deal machine? And my second question is, how do you guys expand your buyers list?
How we do deal marketing, we do ringless voicemail, deal machine, and our real secret weapon that we've been doing for a year that a lot of gurus, not gurus, because we gurus, we in this every day, is text messaging, text blast. And we have literally, that is literally the cheapest form of marketing. And I'm telling you this because most gurus is not going to tell you that, because that's how we are closing 40 and 50 deals a month, is through like text blasting. So that's one of them. And we actually, a friend of ours who got us involved with it and his service, we actually finally talked him into, he had it just for him. And we actually finally talked him into putting it together, packaging it so other people can use it, because he had us on like some little ghetto system. It was just rigged for us to be able to, text and him to do it. So he's actually dropping that next month.
Yeah.
So if you put that in the email, and I'll let you know as soon as he drops it, and hopefully we'll get like a code from him, so you guys will be able
basically
to.
the service will allow you to send a text blast to 5,000 homeowners in a certain neighborhood.
And it'll be like 5 cents a text.
And you get immediate responses because everybody checks their text message, right? Who goes and leaves 5 text messages unread? You're gonna read that text message.
And with his service, we talked to him because we literally sat down with him and built it, helped him build it so it's marketable for the new investor. And we told him you can't put a price on it, no monthly fee. And he was kind of like, what? And we said no monthly fee. Allow people to get in here and just use it as they need it. So he was like, yeah, I get what you're saying. So he's not even having a monthly fee. You just pay for your texts. And I think, what's the text?
Texts are cheap. It's
like
4 or 5 cents. To send a text
literally.
message. The second question, how do you build your buyers list? How do you build a cash buyers list? Great question. Few different ways you can build it. First of all, get a true wholesale deal. Get a deal. Find a deal. When you find a deal and you get a real wholesale deal in the contract, not a wholesale deal where the ARV is $100,000, the repairs are $40,000, and you're trying to sell it for $80,000. That's not a wholesale deal, right?
Right.
Get a true wholesale deal where the numbers make sense. Put it on Craigslist, put it on Facebook, and say, hey, if you guys are looking for more deals like this, email me, contact me, and you're gonna have people flock, investors flock, because investors are they're like vultures. They're always looking for deals. It's like crack. Once you give them a deal, they're gonna keep coming back for more.
A couple of other hacks that we use to build, if you have a very specific area, right, that you want to invest in, and you know someone or you have a house in that area or something, go get a sign from Home Depot and put it right on the sign, for sale.
For sale by owner.
For sale by owner, and put, if you know the house is worth maybe $80,000, put $24,000, $25,000.
Sign in the yard. For sale.
Right in the yard.
$24,000 cash. Call this number.
Call this number.
That's called a ghost bandit sign. It's
Absolutely.
a ghost sign. So when they call, and your phone's gonna blow up, Hey, this is Jose. I saw the house. I want to buy it. I got cash.
Oh, man.
You know what? I
Just went under contract.
just sold it. But I'm going to take down your name and number.
Yep.
You're a cash buyer. You buy a house with cash. The next deal I get, I'm going to call you and let you know about it.
Absolutely. And then, or you
Phone
tell
for the
him,
blow-up.
hey, listen, if he don't perform, you're going to be the first one I call. So then they're going to be like, oh, word. Okay. I said, listen, I gave him until this amount of time. If he don't perform, you are literally the next one I'm going to call.
It's called a ghost bandit sign. You'll
When
get
I
a lot
tell
of
you
cash
we got a
buyers that
ton
way.
of cash buyers, and we were looking for them in this specific area that we market in. And we were getting properties, but we were having a hard time getting cash buyers for this one particular area. And we put the bandit sign. The bad thing, you got to be careful too, because we put it in like my mother's yard. And then you got everybody and your mama trying to buy my mama's house. And she'd be outside, everybody stopping like, hey, I want to buy the house. And my mother's like, listen, call the number on the sign. Call the number on the sign. So she was getting like annoyed with the whole situation. But it's a great way to pick up cash buyers. Another one is anyone who's having trouble also, I have cash buyers list of people. We get flooded with cash buyers from like all different states. So my VAs and them always compile them and put them on a spreadsheet. So whenever somebody contact me and be like, hey, listen, I'm trying to, find some cash buyers, I'd be like, hey, what state are you in? And they'll be like, hey, Washington. Okay, what's your email? I literally just sent one this morning for Florida. Shoot me an email and just say, hey, do you have any cash buyers in Ohio? I'm going to send you the Excel that we have that we keep them on. And it's going to be cash buyers for all over Ohio. So everyone who's hit our system, and I'll just send you the Excel for it.
When you use the name, do you find that first and last name works or just first name?
First name.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the second question, for the deals that go into the deal machine, are you getting the list, the extensive list from somewhere else, or does Deal Machine provide that list and send out the marketing?
Where do we get the list from? Who we going to send the postcards out to?
Yes.
Yeah, so all of a majority of the properties are from Driving for Dollars.
Okay.
So I do, which I started doing, and I created it using Deal Machine. So they didn't intend the app to be used this way. But that's how we literally got a couple of six-figure deals off of it.
Six-figure wholesale deals.
I literally pulled a very tailored list. So I wouldn't advise it to be any more than 50 properties on this list. So if you do pull a list, you tailor it down. And mine was it was for the city of Boston, purchased prior to 1985. Out-of-state owners.
Which there's a ton of in Cleveland. Y'all got a ton of investors out of state.
Why? I didn't want to know anyone in state. Why? Because I didn't want no one who knew what their property looked like.
You want some guy in New York or California who owns property in Cleveland. He
It
ain't
ain't-
been here in years.
Exactly.
He might want to just unload it. That's what you're looking for.
So I filtered it down until I got about 75 names. And I stuck those names into Deal Machine. And then I pulled the pictures off of Google Maps.
So she didn't even have to go out and drive.
I
She
did it.
literally sending direct mail
There you
for
go.
dollars from her smartphone.
So now, because of that, they have a feature that's dropping next week that we are rolling out for them called the Street Pick feature behind what I did with Deal Machine, where it will automatically now pull the picture for you.
Without you going out and driving.
So when you're building you're expanding your team. So right now it's me and my boyfriend. We're marketing, we're answering phone calls, putting in the database. And I know you saw the video about not hiring a VA until you kind of did it all. When would you suggest passing something off, and what order? For you guys, when did you pass off to the VA first after you've done it for so long?
When it hurts. So you don't want to get to the point where you pass something off to a VA, but you don't know how it's supposed to be done. Because now you can't teach her and you don't know if she's doing it right. And you don't know if it's hurting your business. So when we hired a VA, we had her phone on the phones making phone calls. All of a sudden I told my husband, we ain't getting no leads. What is going on? From the Philippines. So I told her, I said, listen, let's go back through this list that she was calling. So I had my husband recalling these people. I was recalling. All of a sudden we have a ton of people like, yeah, I want to sell my house. Why? They just didn't want to sell to her because she had that whole accent, and you got to know what market you're in. So our small town market in North Carolina, they are talkers. So they will talk you to death when you get on the phone with them. People in Boston, you have literally 2 seconds to state your case before you get hung up on. And if you have an accent, you are getting hung up on quick, even quicker. So we had to learn that. And when I learned that, I took her off phones. And I literally was like, now you're only doing desk stuff, skip tracing, data entry, stuff like that. So you hire a VA when it hurts you and your business for you to keep doing it. So we knew if it wasn't income producing for us. So if it's not something that is going to literally bring us money in, we shouldn't be doing it. So should we be doing skip tracing? Absolutely not. That's not the highest and best use of our time. Should I be entering list properties now into Deal Machine? Absolutely not. That's not the highest and best use of my time.
And guys, virtual assistant, you can hire them for
$4 an hour
to do work for you. $4 or $5 an hour.
It's $4 an hour.
$4 an hour. You can hire them for.
And I tell people, have them doing data entry, have them doing all the stuff that you don't want to do, and it's not going to put money in your pocket.
Right away.
Having them talk to sellers right away, I wouldn't do that.
You talk to sellers.
You talk to sellers because that's what's going to bring you your check.
I got 2 questions. Now, on those 6-figure deals, did you guys double close? And then 2, I don't know if you guys have done it, but have you guys done like subject to and creative financing on wholesale deals?
Yeah, so this question was, we've closed several 6-figure wholesale deals. We made $100,000 plus on a wholesale deal. If you guys haven't done that, it's life changing because you literally become a cash buyer. Like
we was buying everything
on the spot. We went on a buying spree of buying homes at that point. So yes, we double close. When the assignment fee is that high, you double close.
Don't risk it.
It costs us like $1,500 to borrow someone's money for an hour to double close it. It's worth spending that $1,500 to do a back-to-back close than to lose that transaction because your cash buyer sees how much you're making and they want to back out. So always double close when it's a large spread. If you're making $5,000, $10,000,
they're not going
to
to care.
Fee. You never want to sell to a cash buyer that cares how much you're making on a wholesale fee. If they're looking at how much you're making and like, oh, I don't want in on the deal, never deal with them again.
Ever.
You want cash buyers that say, you make your $10,000, I'm gonna make $50,000 on the flip. They shouldn't be worried about what you're making as a wholesaler.
Second question was, have you guys done any like subject to or creative financing as far as like in the wholesale?
Yep.
Yeah. So we've taken down subject to deals. Subject to is when you assume a mortgage and you start making the payments in the place of the owner in exchange for them deeding the property over to you. That is an advanced strategy. I wouldn't recommend that to someone who hasn't closed even their first wholesale deal. I wouldn't jump in and try to do a subject to deal. I would say close your first wholesale deal. Matter of fact, close like 10, 20 wholesale deals first before you try to do subject to.
And then, even before you do that, do like a subject to training.
Go to a training.
Go to a training first because subject to can get you in hot water if you don't know what you're doing.
You're literally making someone's mortgage payments for them. And if you don't make those payments, that person's credit gets ruined. So it's a lot of responsibility.
Like our mentor, Mr. Robinson from We Live, always told us, if it ever comes down to you making your mortgage payment and their mortgage payment, you better make their mortgage payment and find yourself somewhere else to live. Because if you don't make their mortgage payment, now not only have you brought attention to you, that house, but the legislature now is looking upon you and what this subject to is. So it really comes down on everybody who's doing this practice. So that's why I said get a subject to training first. Like we literally sit in our mentors training for subject to as well. And we're with him every single month and we still want to make sure that we know everything that we need to know before we do it. And it's subject to is seller finance, owner finance. Before you jump into that stuff, just make sure you read up on it and get educated on it.
What are some tips to get into wholesale for the first time?
I would say drive for dollars.
So for example,
So,
I see this house
Yep.
next over. I take a picture, get the information, reach out to the contact.
if you have a budget, I would say get Deal Machine. If you don't have a budget, I would say get the properties, write them down if you're driving past the properties. Get them, write them down, contact the person at Fiverr. Have them skip trace the owner of the property. They'll get the phone number and send it back to you. Fiverr will cost you maybe $5, $7, and some of, like our guy who does it, I think it's like $10 for like with 50 leads. You can send him 50 leads and it'll cost him like $10. He'll send you back the list, and now you need to cold call this list. Get you a script, sit down somewhere real quiet, and start dialing and smiling. That's what I say, dial and smile. Whenever you are cold calling, I used to have a huge fear of it. Huge, huge fear. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to make sure my husband went and got the kids one day. I sat down and I said, I'm about to do it. I literally just fired my boss.
This was June of last year.
Yeah. I fired my boss 1 week ago. It was probably like 7 days prior. I sat down. I didn't want anyone around me so I couldn't be embarrassed. That's really what it was. So I had him go get the kids. I sat down and I started smiling and dialing. And because I worked in the customer service industry for like 15 years, I already know all about, customer service and how to speak and all that stuff. So literally my first call, I got an appointment. My third call, I got an appointment. So by the time he came back, I didn't stop calling and everything. I was just like, yo, you never got out about leave this.
And really, it's just you want to have a friendly conversation with the person. They're a human being. Sometimes they may get upset when you call, but you're just asking, hey, I was driving through the neighborhood. I noticed the house looked vacant. Any chance you might be looking to sell, right? If they're interested in selling, then you continue. If they're not, you get off the phone, you call the next person, right?
Now, don't take the swearing personal.
Don't take the rejection
Don't
personal.
take the rejection.
It's a numbers game at the end of the day.
Literally.
Cold calling is a numbers game.
And be as polite as possible. And I stress this to people because just for me being in customer service, I base every business off of customer service. Like if we go somewhere and I see the service is horrible, I'm quick to do a review. I base everything off of customer service. And I tell people, even my husband, there was a lady who had called in.
Oh, yeah.
And
another deal machine lead.
Yep, another deal machine lead called in. Hey, I got a house I want to sell. What you gonna give me? So he done took the call and he's talking to her.
She
and
had a
major attitude.
Like she was giving me. She gave me the 9th degree. Like,
and he done forgot.
My feelings a little bit. And I got thick skin. I'm like, you don't even know me. And you cussing me out like this.
And I'm listening to the whole call. I'm not saying anything. And I'm on the computer doing some work, and I'm listening to the call.
And I took it personal.
And he did. He took it real personal. And I'm listening to the call, and at one point I had to say, Daddy.
She was like, calm down.
Calm down. And so the lady's like, okay, well, call me back when you know what you want to offer me. And hung the phone up.
Yeah, I'm trying to qualify her, ask questions, and she was just going in, being real rude.
Right. So then I had to tell, he got off the phone and I stopped typing and I said, so how did you think that went? And he was like, man, did you hit? I said, I did. I heard her. I sure did. How do you think you did? And he was like, I mean, she's sitting up there cussing me out. And I said, honey, one thing I want you to always keep in mind is you never know what a person on the other line is going through. You don't know what's making them pick this phone up to call you. They may have to sell this house to you and they hate every bit of it, but they know they have to. So no, they're not gonna be happy and gleeful and I said, so take your feelings out of it. Remember, it's not personal. I said, and if you kill them with kindness, they will literally feel bad for how they are treating you on the phone, and you can change the entire conversation. So I had him call back.
I didn't want to call back because I'm upset at this point. I'm pacing in my office.
He was. My baby was hot, boy. And he did exactly. I said,
I called her back.
And I told him, I said, this is what I want you to address with her. This is how I want you to say it, and this is what I want you to say. And I want you to start off by just apologizing. He did all of that. I left the room.
And I actually apologized. And I'm like, I'm
did.
sorry. You know, how you were coming at me, I got a little agitated because I came at her. She was being rude. I was
sure
rude
did.
right back. And I apologized to her. And after I apologized, it changed the whole conversation.
Completely.
She went from being super rude to being like, you know what, I'm sorry how I spoke to you the first time. I'm just going through some stuff. Yeah, I
Yep.
do got a property I want to sell, and this was like 10 minutes later. So again, this is about relating with people. This is just another human being on the other
Remember,
end of the phone.
you're in it to solve problems.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't take anything personal. And if you have no budget, drive for dollars, skip trace, cold call.
I was wondering say if somebody was selling their house and they owed back taxes on it, and I wanted to purchase the house, would I had to pay their back taxes, or would they start something over, or would I have to get on the plan, or what would go on with that?
That's a
Or
good
would
question.
If I buy their house and they owe, say they owe $10,000 in back taxes, and I only paid $4,000 for the house, like what do I do about that?
So every state is different. I'll let you answer because you're from Ohio, so you know the laws in this for back taxes.
I just did a deal like that, the one I was telling you about before. This person owed $38,000 in back taxes. The house appraised for like $110 or so. So I ended up selling it to the buyer for like $65 or so. But what they do is the title company handles all that. That you get the $65 and they get the remainder. You know, so basically I gave them $45. They wanted $45 for the house. So the back taxes paid off. They got the change, and I got the difference between what the buyer from what the buyer paid. So the title company handles all of that.
Okay,
They don't see anything. They take if they owe $38,000, that $38,000 got paid first before they get
By
their
someone
money.
else, not by you.
Not by you though.
Okay, so
by the
if we-
buyer, by the buyer.
But let me help you out too. You want to make sure you explain that to the seller too.
Yeah.
So just like an example of it being appraised at 110 and he's 65, you want to make sure that you explain to the seller that you owe $10,000, that's going to come out your part. But you can explain it like 65, you're going to walk away with 55,000.
But they like that though because, like I said, in my situation, the guy, I was telling you earlier, I can call him right now. He was praising me because they're about to lose their house. So I said, not only am I gonna pay your taxes off, I'm gonna put $10,000 in your pocket, and I helped them move. I pay for some moving. I left that from the sky. So I'm telling you, they're real appreciative when you do stuff like that for them. So
Okay, that'll work.
And make sure there's value in the house. Don't pay off $38,000 and the house is worth $39,000.
So look
You
the
know.
house up first.
Look and see what the
Always look at the
value of
value.
it is
Then
first
get
to
it
make sure
appraised.
it's worth.
No, you don't gotta get it appraised,
Right.
but know
you
what
can
the value
tell based
is.
off the comps what it's going to be.
Even look at
valued
Zillow.
at.
What is
Yep.
Zillow saying it's valued at? Google.
To give you a good baseline to start with.
Thank you.
And they said they're not wanting to sell. Do you call them back, 30 days later, 6 months later? Do you
Yes.
keep that label?
Do you call them back? Do you follow up with them? Yes. Fortune is in the follow-up. 98% of our deals, they don't come from the first phone call. It's months and months of follow-up emails, texts. Hey, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Nope. Keep following up until that timing is right, and then they're ready and you close the deal. So what helps with that is what's having a CRM system. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Every big business has this, right? When you're in a store and they're typing in, they pull up your profile. But as an investor, you can have a CRM as well. So we use something called Podio. Podio is the CRM we use, for those who heard of it. So we got hundreds of leads in our Podio system. So any seller I've ever talked to, I can punch in Jane Smith, and I can look at all my calls to her, all my conversations, when I'm following up next. So most people got, a spreadsheet and a notebook.
If you don't have a budget for Podio, because that's another expense,
it's another sense.
Excel.
Out, we didn't have it.
we had Excel.
We had Excel.
And Excel worked just as good.
It don't work like Podio.
It doesn't. But if you don't have hundreds of leads that you're following up on, I would not suggest you go out and get an expense already. And you don't have anything coming out. I really tell people, don't look at Podio and certain softwares until you have at least done a deal.
Close your first
Close
deal
the
first,
deal.
and then start investing.
Where
in
you
stuff
now
like that.
have a marketing budget.
There's a free version of it. The version we use is specifically for wholesalers and investors. That's a paid version because it's set up. It has a seller leads module. It has a cash buyers module. It's set up for investors, so you don't have to customize it. And that's like $160 a month. Is the version we use.
Yes. No, we are actually members of their mastermind.
So she asked about REI Black Book. REI Black Book's another software. REI
Yep.
Black Book, Real
Yep.
Estate Investor Black Book. It's a software
Yep.
to create websites and to do marketing and stuff like that.
How do you vet those? How do you vet to see? How do you vet a person and say I do transitional funding?
How do you vet them?
Yeah, like making
Referral.
sure, like, they're-
We got ours from our closing attorney.
Yep.
So we say, hey, we want to double close on this deal. Who do you know who can provide us with the funding for 2 hours in order to buy it and sell it real quick?
Yep. Or your title company. They all have those lenders. So they'll definitely refer you to one because they're going to keep doing business with each other. So they're only going to be helping each other.
I have a quick question about subject to. I know you guys
Yep.
touched on it. I just closed on my first subject to in July of this year.
Okay.
So I have a deal right now on the table where I have a seller where I'm working 5 of his properties for subject to.
Mm-hmm.
He's older though. He's been in like the rental game for 30 years. He's
Yep.
done. So my question is, and I know it probably sounds horrible, but if he happens to pass away while I'm still paying the mortgage on these houses,
Yep.
what happens?
You have a closing attorney that you use or a real estate attorney that helps you close your deals?
Yeah, I do.
I would tell them the situation, ask them, hey, if this guy passes away and I'm making his mortgage payments for him because he deeded the property over to me, what happens,
Yeah,
right?
he
Who do I
wants
make the
refi.
payments from?
And I'm like, I want to make sure before I get into something that big, and of course I have my attorney looking over everything, but before I get into something like that, it could be a great cash flow, but I don't want to
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
I wouldn't say be afraid of it, but talk to your attorney and
I'm
ask him.
scared.
Absolutely. What I would also tell you to do, look up Houseway to Wealth. He has a consultation on there. And he is like the subject to king. Literally, hands down, he's our mentor, multi-millionaire, like 8 times over. And he advises us on every single subject to that we do, and we know how to do them. And we still go to him to make sure. So all of our subject twos are in trust. Nothing's in an LLC. Matter of fact, all of our properties are in trust. Yes, for anonymity purposes, all of our we keep our footprint off of everything. Control everything. What's the saying?
Own nothing.
Own nothing.
I got a question. So with it being in a trust, you can't touch the money part of the aspect, right? With the financing and everything, like if you wanted to pull money off, you can't do that when it's in the trust. Does it have to be, you have to put it back in personal?
No, you mean to like refinance it or something? There are banks who will refinance it in a trust. So what you will want to do is before you put it in the trust, if you know you're going to refinance it, refi it first. So like we have a property now that we're about to refi. And we're also going to do a seller finance on it. So we're going to do that first before we put it into the trust.
So how do you do a refi on a subject to deal? Or is that possible?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I was
You're
say.
getting into some real advanced
Yeah, I don't think
concepts right now.
Before I came and I was like,
Contact Mr. Robinson. So go to that website because we've never had
Take it
to.
back to wholesaling.
Right, we've never had to do a refi on a subject to. Ours is either we're going to seller finance it or we're going to rent it out.
Can you walk us through a typical marketing campaign, like the time frame from deal machine to follow up, whether it's email or text?
Yep.
So I'm gonna do one we did in Charlotte recently. So this one is in Charlotte. This will be closing next month. So I'm in Deal Machine. I got a picture of the house here, her information, activity at the bottom. So we mailed her April 20th. We sent the first postcard to this lady living in this house. We sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mailers, and then she called us when? She called us after the 7th mailer. So she called and said, hey, I got a property I'm looking to sell. Okay, great. We go through the script. How much do you want for it? Why are you selling? All this stuff. And she was a really qualified lead. This is in Charlotte, 2 hours away from where we live. I drove down to her house on a Sunday morning, walked through the property, said, yep, the numbers make sense. We got the property under contract for $70,000. ARV is $130,000, about $150,000 after repair value. You need about $30,000 to work. So the numbers made sense. So we ended up wholesaling that for $98,000. So we're gonna make $28,000 on that deal. And it took 7 mailers, a couple phone calls, an appointment, got under contract on the spot, and now we're gonna wholesale it.
The 7 mailers were there. It sounds like from April to what we're in August now, the end of August. So it wasn't a monthly, was it like every 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's probably about every 21 days.
Yep. So
You can set that.
my marketing is different for different states. So let me tell you that we have what we call red zones. Red zones are really hot markets with very high price point properties. So like driving through this neighborhood, where's the area they said we need to?
Square. This is like a nicer area.
So this would be a red zone, considered a red zone to us.
Desirable area.
Very desirable. House price points are higher, which means you get a deal here, or you see a property here that's vacant or run down. That's when you want to. I would hit it every 21 days. So red zones I mail to every 21 days until they tell me to stop mailing to them. And other areas like smaller towns, I do every 30 days. If there's a real motivation with somebody and it's a house that we can't find skip tracing, and I'm like, yo, I know something's up with this house, I'll mail to it once a week if I have to. But typically it's every 21 days or every 30 days. Pick that based off the neighborhood. If it's in a hot neighborhood, a hot area, and you're trying to get to it before everybody else do, you may want to bump that to like every 21 days.
What's the average percentage that you would say for the wholesaling? Say you finally get in contact with the sellers and you in position to go sell this property to whoever interested. What is like an average percentage you want to gain for yourself? Like, do you usually work off like maybe 15%, 20%?
So
or
there's
just making up numbers?
There's no average. There is a formula you use called the 70% rule in wholesaling. 70%. I mean, at a minimum, we try to make at least 10,000. Well, we've had deals we made 2,000 on.
Right.
We've had deals we made over 100,000. So it's really a range, but it depends on the deal. But that's something where if you get under contract where the numbers make sense, you can price it accordingly. But we can send you. It's a spreadsheet where you can put in the 70% rule, where it'll tell you what's the most you can pay for it. If you want to make X amount of dollars, it'll tell you what your maximum offer is. So we can email you that spreadsheet.
And that's a good one. That's a good way to start off. If you're really just starting at wholesaling, I would definitely say start off that way, because it'll help when it comes time for the dispositions phase, which is getting rid of that property, to a cash buyer, because that's how they're going to calculate their profit on the end. So at least you know if it at least falls in that formula, you can make a good wholesale spread from it. I mean, we've gotten paid to walk away from a deal. Literally, like right now we got a deal out where the guy gave us, how much? $2,500 just to walk away from it, and he'll handle all. It's a huge probate issue, title issues. He was like, listen, I'll take it over.
But because we had it locked up under contract, he just paid us to go away, and we had no problem because we weren't going to close on it anyway. All right, you give us a check for $2,500 just to walk away. Here, it's yours. You deal with the probate issues.
Yep.
No, we haven't done any Google AdWords. That's pay-per-click. We haven't done any of that yet.
Nope, it's on our list to do, especially for our area. So we got the guy who's going to be doing it. I just haven't pulled the plug on it yet. So we have so much other stuff right now that's going on. We really have too many leads. Like, right.
It's a good problem to have. We have so many leads, we don't have enough time to call all of them.
Can I get a couple?
I like that.
But what I will tell you, based off of one of your questions that you asked, as far as marketing goes, if you are, and this is just like our marketing phase, deal machine is what we do first. So we will hit it with a deal machine lead. Anyone who has deal machine, you can actually export your list out of deal machine. So every property that you have in deal machine, don't let that just sit there and you ain't heard from nobody. Export that list out of deal machine if that's what you're using.
That was my problem. I didn't really research deal machine. Deals kept coming. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. Are these flyers going to the house?
Listen, we hear that all the time. Export that list and then have it skip trace.
And that's why we created a course. We created a whole program that basically shows everyone a blueprint on how to duplicate what we were able to do with Deal Machine, which is closing 5 to 10 deals a month using Deal Machine.
Strictly Deal Machine, nothing else, not our cold calling or our ringless voicemail. But how we got started was strictly Deal Machine. When I quit my job June 8th of last year, 2 weeks later, because I took a week off, 2 weeks later, we had 5 contracts.
And we started using Deal Machine about 3 months prior to that.
And my husband's like, man, this cold calling is working. I said, this is not cold calling.
I thought it was cold call leads. And she was like, no, these are all from Deal Machine.
He was like, what's Deal Machine? I said, that app you told me not to get. And he was like, let me see, pull that Deal Machine up again.
It's working, we're gonna use this.
And literally all of our deals in the beginning started from nothing but Deal Machine. But I'll tell you, LaTracy, how Deal Machine and where Deal Machine is most effective. If you are in smaller towns, not bigger cities, not like the Bostons, but if you are in smaller towns.
Would you consider Cleveland a smaller city? It's a city.
The reason why Cleveland is so good is because you guys have a ton of vacant houses here.
Ton of distressed properties.
Ton of distressed properties.
Everywhere.
You have to now get them in the right areas. And then what you need to do is find the ones who are buying in the not so good areas. That's really how you make your money. Right now, we have properties in East Cleveland. We couldn't find a property manager to save our life. Okay?
Like, where's the property? East Cleveland? No, we
don't service that
don't
area.
go over there.
That's all we've been here. Oh no, we don't service that area.
Oh, y'all do? Okay.
Thank you, because we have literally went through, and right now we got like 10 emails, because we had our VA just shooting them out to everybody at this point. And it was like, no, no, ma'am, we don't service that area. Thank you.
You got that concealed carry permit, right?
See? But if you live in cities like this, Deal Machine is a gold mine because there's motivation there. People can't afford to let houses sit vacant, and there be no motivation.
From the city, they got demolition orders. They got condemned notices. These people need to sell a lot of these properties.
Exactly.
You're their godsend. When you buying this property, getting it off their hands.
So bigger cities like the Bostons, the New Yorks, the LAs, the Miamis, How I use Deal Machine with that is I put real small targeted lists into Deal Machine and I shoot them out a postcard. I do not drive for dollars. Why? Because those are $1 million houses in Boston. You think them owners don't know that? My husband called one day to this guy. I was like, word, this is vacant, it's boarded up. And we had someone send us the property. I was like, yo, this is it. My husband called, he was like, I know it's vacant. And I know what I'm sitting on. He was like, I ain't selling to nobody. And he was like mad rude. And my husband was like, okay. Then all of a sudden they got off the phone, he calls back. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, whole attitudes changed and he had a conversation with him. But they know what they're sitting on. So it doesn't serve its purpose in like huge cities because there's no motivation there. People know that their properties are worth $1 million. They're not gonna take 300. One thing I tell people that people mess up is you guys look for only vacant properties. If I'm and people notice, and you'll see this on a lot of videos on YouTube about me, and Max had mentioned it in the last meetup we had popped up on him at his, and he was like, yo, this queen will throw her cousin's house in Deal Machine. I sure will. If she don't own it, let me get to that seller. And I sure have. I have been at my aunt in them houses, and I would be like, and Dedric would be like, what you doing?
What you doing? She's like, I'm Deal Machine in the house.
No, I'm coming gone. I'm gonna meet you in there. And I've sat there and waited for my own family to get off their porch. If you don't own it, you can't be mad. Listen, and I have contacted the owners. Owners call back like, yeah, I'm looking to sell. A lot of tired landlords don't know they're tired until they get that postcard from you. Keep that in mind. When I tell you 90% of our sellers are tired landlords and they didn't realize they were tired until they got our postcard. So put properties in there, or even if you're driving by and you're just writing properties down, properties that are occupied, but you know they're not being maintained great.
You know it's a rental property.
You know it's the sign of a rental property. Take those properties down.
The landlord may be tired.
Skip trace them. Call the landlord or mail to them. Hey, I'm looking, I see you have a property that, I drove by a property that you may or may not own. And we always say may or may not own so people don't take it personal when you call them. Hey, I just so happen to be driving by a property that you may or may not own anymore. So if you don't, my apologies. I'm a local investor in the area. My name is Krystal, and I was just wondering to see if you were possibly interested in selling it or at least hearing an offer from me. That's what our ringless voicemail says. That's what we say when we cold call. That simple. Ringless voicemail drop is the same thing. Hey, you may or may not be interested in hearing an offer. Then they be like, well, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with a little offer.
How much
you gonna give me?
How much you want?
And then they start talking and be like, well, I actually own 12. That's
find
how
these people with portfolios.
A whole portfolio, and they be like, man, I'm just getting older. I'm just getting older, and you know, I think it's about that time that I go on and just lay it down. My wife done told me, and that's why I said don't look for just vacant. Just look for a house that you know is not owner occupied. And then if you're in this area, the areas that are really becoming gentrified, or you know is next in line. Like we try to get them ones that's on the cusp. Like it's coming there next. Contact them, even if they're owner occupied. We just literally wholesaled the house in Charlotte. Owner occupied, got our postcard, and made $90,000.
Wholesale deal.
And that was last month. Owner occupied, and she was just like, listen, she only owed about $2,000 in back taxes.
Free and clear, no mortgage.
And that came right off her cut when we sold. We didn't even pay that. No, we did not.
What type of EMD are you putting out? Are you doing the $10?
Earnest money deposit. So what he's asking, what type of earnest money deposit do we put down when we get a property in the contract? We lock it up. Usually a seller purchase sale contract, he put a deposit on there. As a wholesaler, we usually put $10 or $100 consideration down, and we don't give that to the seller. We give it to the title company, right? And if the seller pushes back on that, they're usually not that motivated. Now, if it's a property in a really nice area where they're like, oh, I'm gonna need more than $100,
right.
Sometimes we'll up it if we know we got it at a good price, we got a buyer, but usually put $100 in. If they say, you only putting down $100, my property's worth $100,000, we can say, Mr. Seller, we buy like 10 to 20 houses a month, so if I put $10,000 down on each of these houses, that doesn't make sense for me. But if they're motivated, usually they don't have a problem with that.
Yep. Now, if it's a Boston property where these houses are $1 million, we've put down anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000.
If you know you have a property very close to being locked up, let's say you feel like the seller's going to buy, do you ship it out to your buyers just to see the feeling, just a feeling?
So
it has to be trusted.
You got to trust them.
Buyers.
Because they
absolutely.
In this business, people they'll steal your deals. So you got to be careful who you send your deals out to.
So I wouldn't send it out. I would call it out. Hey, Ron, what you doing? It has to be that type of relationship. And we're real strict. So we know certain areas like our Charlotte market, is extremely cutthroat. So we know we literally are only shopping it to 3 people. That's it. And we take them when we go see it. So we literally be like, hey, listen, if we know that getting in is going to be an issue. So that's another thing. If you know getting into these properties may be an issue, or getting access to bring buyers in may be an issue because it's occupied, the one chance that you do get, bring a buyer with you and just say, hey, this is my partner. You let that buyer know right then. We don't talk numbers here. Never allow them to be alone with the owner. Or if they're letting you in, whoever's letting you in, just walk through it with them and you let them know, hey, I'm coming by with my partner. And that's if you know access is going to be an issue. Most cash buyers are going to want to see the property. So that's why it's really good starting out, you build a relationship with some cash buyers on a first name basis. We ended up getting the property under contract. And it was, I think, our first Charlotte property. Mm-hmm. And not knowing, we got the property under contract, invited some cash buyers to the property. And we asked, we asked other people that we were really close with, like, hey, boom, 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 we got this property. And they was like, hey, contact this person, this person, this person. We invited them over for a group showing, which we don't do anymore. Group showing. They came over, looked at the property. My husband conducted the group showing. All of a sudden, the seller went ghost on us. Couldn't get him back on the phone. And we're calling, and we have a contract, signed contract.
locked in for a $35,000 assignment fee.
Yes.
We already had it sold to
We
a
had
cash buyer.
his deposit, his
Took a deposit check from a cash buyer.
and all of a sudden he went ghost. I told my husband something to get him back on the phone, and that's exactly what happened. That's how he got him on the phone. And I'm real good with giving, finding ghost sellers to get them back on the line. So I told him, I said, hey, call him and say this, or text him and say this. And all of a sudden he called us right back. My husband picked up his phone like, hey, what's going on, da-da-da. And then he told me, he's like, well, I really think I can get more, and da-da-da. So all of a sudden my husband's talking to him, and he's like, something ain't right, da-da-da. We contacted our attorney that day, and he was like, listen, I'm going to go to the courthouse and put a notice of contract on the title, on record. As soon as he got there, he was like, hey, it's showing it sold yesterday.
Wow. One of the cash buyers went around our back.
Look, I got mad for you.
And let me add one thing. Don't call yourself a wholesaler. You are an investor.
Absolutely.
Wholesaling, I love wholesaling, but it's just an exit strategy. A lot of you guys say, hey, listen, I want to start wholesaling, but I really want to be a landlord. I really want to fix and flip. So act as if you're a landlord already. When someone asks you, hey, what do you do? I'm an investor.
Yep.
I do some wholesaling, I do some fix and flips, I got some buy and holds. I'm an investor. The reason being is a lot of people look down on wholesaling because
Yep.
it's a lot of people in the business who don't know what they're doing, so it has a negative connotation. So if someone asks you, hey, what do you do? I'm a real estate investor. I do some wholesaling, I do some fix and flips. You get a lot more respect that way. So don't call yourself, I never call myself a wholesaler.
Never.
I may wholesale a few deals, but I'm a real estate investor. And you'll get a lot more respect from cash buyers and other investors.
What do you have advice for somebody like young like me and my girlfriend? Because older people probably think, oh, he young, but they're young, and they can't get this done. So like, what will be your response to that?
How old are you?
20.
20?
20 and 19.
Man, y'all ain't like, woo, no, Jesus.
How old were you when you bought your first property? 19. You told me that story when I first met him.
Listen, y'all are in like the best position. I ain't even lying to you. I have an 18-year-old. He didn't really come out of me, but he's my nephew. I raised him. I paid for him. He mine. But I have tried everything to get him into business, real estate, just something entrepreneurial-wise. And his mindset is just not there. He's a football player. If he just wants to sit and play video games. So you are at literally, at your age, if I would have been around, and me and my husband were just talking about this, had I been around people like me now, then y'all wouldn't even be seeing me right now. I'm telling y'all wouldn't know me. I don't even know if I'd have knew my husband, boy. I'm telling you.
Like that?
I'm telling you. I might have knew you.
Oh, you would?
You're right. I might have knew you. You right. But what I say to you, you are in the best position because right now you have all the time in the world to invest in your education in this business. Education is everything. Like me and my husband, before we got one dime from a deal, we spent over $100,000 in just educating ourselves for an entire year.
We were trying to close deals.
Right.
But it took us over a year and a half to close our first deal.
Reason being, both of us had corporate jobs. We were comfortable. And I know a lot of you guys are that same way. You get that corporate check. It's like, oh, okay. We also owned a franchise, 3 different locations, a really nice check from our franchises. So we are real comfortable. We weren't hungry. With you two, I would definitely say attend as much real estate related events, REIAs, find out your local real estate attorneys, find out your cash buyers, find out contractors, find people who are actually doing deals, right? That's locally in the area and be like, hey, listen, can I shadow you? How can I add value to you? I always tell people to lead with value first. Contact people who are really doing deals and be like, hey, listen, can I get your contract? Because see, you have all the time in the world to mess up right now. And you're gonna have 1 million people willing to help you. Like I told my nephew, at 18. The same people who's willing to help you now at 18 ain't gonna be willing to help you at 19. Same people who's gonna be willing to help you at 19 ain't gonna be willing to help you at 20. Because the older you get, the more people start to look and be like, hey, you should know better at that point. You guys are at an age where we all look at you like, man, if we would be 19 and 20 again, man, you will literally, like he said, be rich by 25. If you guys dive into it now, and if you plan on staying together, if you plan on staying together, join our group, the Co-preneurs, on Facebook. Let me know when you do, because I'll have to go in to accept you, because my admins will decline if they don't see you married or engaged. I'll accept you. And I'll literally help you guys in building a brand and a business in real estate. But at this age, the hungrier you are, the better, because everybody's going to be wanting to help you because you guys are so young. You get what I'm saying? Versus us at our age, and people be like, you got 5 minutes. What you got? Go. Like, people are going to want to pour into you because you're that age. And I know I do. So people who come to me, if you have a kid, anyone with children, get them into a business. I don't care what it is. Get them into some type of business, because people will help children more than they will adults.
You guys talked about doing deals like in areas that you're not, like where you don't live, like
Virtual.
outside of Boston.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So the deals that you can't go and see, can you talk about how you handle those in terms of still applying the 70% formula, and whether or not, how do you judge whether or not the condition and all of that? Can you talk about that?
Well, that's one of our specialties, is virtual wholesaling and virtual investing. One of them is knowing your numbers. I mean, you guys experience, y'all have been in the business for 10, 20 years. Knowing the 70% rule, knowing the numbers. Secondly, I would say having boots on the ground. So if you got a trusted person, a cousin, a friend, a realtor, a broker, who can go to the property, meet with the seller, take pictures, do that on the ground stuff for you, you're good. And you know your numbers, you know how much you can pay and how much you can sell it for, how much the rough rehab estimate, you're good to go. So you got all the ingredients there.